Good night. All right, I'd just like to, deal with a topic tonight. The name of it is Christ, our only hope. All right, and I've split it up in three categories: covetousness, persecution, and faith. All right. Now, let me lay the foundation. I'll deal with covetousness firstly. Let's look at Acts chapter 5. Let's look at the ending of chapter 4, and then we will go into the starting of chapter 5, right? And it says, "Neither was there any among them that lacked it. For as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need. And Joseph, who by the apostles was surnamed Barnabas, which is, being interpreted, the son of consolation, a Levite, and of the country of Cyprus, having land, sold it, and brought the money, and laid it at the apostles' feet." Chapter 5 now. "But a certain man named Ananias and Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession, and kept back part of the price. His wife also, being privy to it, and brought a certain part, and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter's soul said, Ananias, why had Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost, and to keep back part of the price of the land? Whilst it remained, was it not thine own? And after it was sold, was it not in thine own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto God." And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost, and great fear came unto them that heard these things. And the young men arose, wound him up, and carried him out, and buried him. And it was about the space of 3 hours after, when his wife, not knowing what was done, came in. Right? And Peter answered unto her, Tell me whether ye sold the land for so much. And she said, Yea, for so much. Then Peter said unto her, How is it that ye have agreed together to tempt the Spirit of the Lord? Behold, the feet of them which have buried thy husband are at the door, and shall carry thee out. Then fell she down straightway at his feet, and yielded up the ghost. And the young men came in, and found her dead, and carried her forth, buried her by her husband. Right? So we see here the whole scenario with Ananias and Sapphira. Right? Every the apostles, but Jesus told them go into the world, preaching, baptizing. First they went out to the Jews, preaching the gospel. Right? So as time go on, we know at the day of Pentecost they baptized 3,000. As time go on, their followers grew. Right? So this situation here where all those who had possessions and lands and money and whatnot, they distributed it among the group so that no one lacked it. Every need was supplied. But in this case here, Ananias and Sapphira was being covetous. Right? We know one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not covet. Right? But this is another twist to covetousness. The Bible says thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's possessions, your wife, cattle, whatever. But this is another twist to it. Right? They coveted what belonged to God. right? We have to understand that when we sin, or when sin entered this world, we no longer had worth or value. But because Jesus died for us, we know, because he bought us back now, he redeemed us, we now have worth and value. But when we sin, it separates us from God, right? So because of sin, we have no worth or value, and then Jesus died for us. But when we hold there to sin, when we continually sin, you understand? Again, we have no worth and no value. But get this, we have to understand, therefore, that whatever I have, whatever talents I may have, possessions, land, whatever you may have, it belongs to God. And God alone, right? So, since it belongs to God, and God is saying, hey, this is me, surrender your all, sacrifice all to the altar. In this case, these people here, they sold all what they had, they distributed it so that, whoever had need got, So the thing about it is, we see in another twist here that we could covet what belongs to God. So God said, well, hey, I see that talent you have in singing. Surrender your all to me. You know what? And I will do a work in you. I will do a work in you. So consecrate that talent for me. Set aside that talent for holy use. But no, I gone out now, and I saying, you know what? I want to do my own thing. So I go and start to sing for the world, right? So we are coveting. We are coveting what belongs to God, right? We ought to surrender all to God, right? So we know, even with Achan as well, Achan coveted the Babylonish garments, the gold and the silver. But in Acts said, it's given us another twist. That once we are followers of Christ, we no longer are our own. We no longer, whatever we have no longer belongs to us. For any time God could say, hey, you see that thing that they have there, give it up. Give this person, he needed more than you. But the question is, would we surrender? Would we be willing to give that up? You understand? Would we? That's a question that we have to ask ourselves. Right? The Great Controversy, chapter 2 on persecution, and mentions that Ananias and Sapphira acted the part of deceivers, pretending to make a sacrifice to God when they were covetously withholding a portion. Right? So we see it was their land, it was their possession. But since they became followers of Christ, it no longer belonged to them. You see, we have to purpose in our and make up in our mind. Once we become followers of Christ, in fact, before we even become followers of Christ, we God said, a cattle upon 1,000 hill is yours, is his. The whole world belongs to him. You understand? But when we are baptized and we become followers of Christ, we are not our own. Right? We become his possession now. And at any point in time, whatever he says, we ought to be obedient and we ought to do. Alright? So, I just want you and I to pay attention to this, that there's another twist. Some of us may covet, what another person have. But you can also covet what belongs to God and refuse to give it up, refuse to surrender it to God fully. Right? And Ellen White says that covetousness is the greatest sin among God's people. The greatest. You understand? See, we go and we do degrees and we get cars and we get house and we get all these things. And we say, yeah man, this is mine. No, it's not yours. It's not mine. It belongs to God. You understand? At any point in time, we can't forget Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar. We only found out that he's that head of gold in Daniel. You understand what he did? He became proud and puffed up. But the limit had been reached. Alright? And God had to humble him. And he became like an animal, eating grass for 7 years. Until he could understand that there is a creator in heaven who owns everything. So when we think that we could become puffed up and think that, hey, this is mine, who God think he is or feel he is, always remember Nebuchadnezzar's scenario. God, he humbled those who are puffed up, and he exalts those who are abased, who are humble. Right? Now, just pay attention to that. That everything that you and I have belongs to Christ. There's no two ways about it. Right? Acts chapter 5 paints that picture to us.